Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told how to voice the radio, and today it is 2 days before Christmas. Today was supposed to be the start of me having a few days off. You know, over Christmas, spend some time with the family, not work for a change, all that stuff. But no, ladies and gentlemen, they have gone and revealed new cards. They have gone and revealed extremely exciting new cards. And here's the thing that I think makes me kind of good at what I do. I am excited to spend the morning working, even though it was supposed to be the morning of my first day off over Christmas. Although, to be fair, working this morning will give me the 27th off, so, you know what? I think we're going to be okay. Unless, of course, news drops. You know if news drops, I'm going to be here because it's kind of what I do. And what we've got, ladies and gentlemen, today is extremely exciting. We've got two new EXs to talk about. We've got Iron Treads and Great Tusk. And I, for one, am very, very excited. Although it needs to be pointed out before we start, we are here exactly like we were in the video games. In Pokemon Scarlet, you can get Great Tusk but not Iron Treads. That's the same thing here. And in Pokemon Violet, you can get Iron Treads but not Great Tusk. And that's the same thing here. Remember, the way it works with a double set is that the cards are completely different between the two packs. So if you want Iron Treads, you've got to go Violet. And if you want Great Tusk, you've got to go Scarlet. I'm pretty sure that's the right way around. The pasty looking one is in Scarlet and the futury looking one is in Violet. And I, for one, am very happy because they revealed these officially before the games came out. You may notice they are still only revealing cards of Pokemon that were revealed before the release of the game. That is obviously not a coincidence. So they're giving us two Paradox Pokemon, but it is the only two Paradox Pokemon that were revealed before the release of the game. Although I'll be honest with you, I kind of wish they'd chosen any other Paradox Pokemon, because how cool would it have been to discover them organically in the game? But then again, when I was watching that trailer and they popped up, the excitement was beyond exciting, and I got to make a video, so it was all good. But I messaged the lovely Cerebi Joe when they were revealed. I was like, Joe, this means we're getting EXs of these Pokemon. Donphan EXs. And they are. I also said we're going to get sleeves and plushies, and I still feel good about them as well. But we need to talk about what they do, and the translations here come from me. I told you, Gen 9, I'm doing a translation myself now, but I did obviously check with the lovely Antoine Boulet just to make sure I hadn't made a whoopsie. So let's start off. Let's go past the future. That seems to make sense here. So let's start off in Pokemon Scarlet with Great Tusk. We've got a basic Pokemon with 250 HP. That is extremely high for even a basic EX. Like, we've seen other basic EXs, and this is higher than them. And yeah, sure, Mimikyu at 190 was always going to be lower than average, but Cyclizar's got 210, and we've obviously seen Koraidon and Miraidon, and they come in with 220 and 230. So even, comparing them to other basic EXs, 250 is high. Now, for a single fighting energy, we've got 40 damage and discard a stadium in play. And I believe it is discard a stadium in play, not you may discard a stadium. I believe you have to. And this is fine. It's not good, but it's fine. This is a kind of thing, against an evolving Pokemon that's weak, you'll get a one-hit KO. Against a Pokemon V that's weak, and bearing in mind, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. Vikavolt has started getting pretty popular quite a lot recently. You whack a choice belt on there, you're hitting for 70, double weakness is 140, and you're getting a pretty straightforward, pretty easy two-hit KO on a Pokemon V that's weak. And you know what? Yeah, that's not bad. What is interesting, against something like an Arceus V-Star, you're actually still getting a two-hit KO, because 40 plus 30 for the choice bout is 70, double for weakness is 140, do that twice is 280, and actually, against an Arceus deck, if you can get a turn 1 choice bout, this is legit. Like, this is a really good counter. Maybe not for the second one, but for the first one, certainly. Remember, you got 250 HP, and that is going to be a lot to go through in one go. Arceus generally doesn't hit that hard. And if you get into a 2-hit KO competition with Arceus, you're probably going to win that competition. And I kind of love this. Again, only when you're hitting for weakness. It really depends on where the metagame's going. But in a metagame where this is hitting for weakness, I legitimately love this. And it's stadium hate as well. Not good if you're relying on a stadium. But actually, if you're not relying on a stadium, yeah. Yeah, this is not too bad, ladies and gentlemen. It's not stunning, not too bad. And then for free fighting energy, you do 250 damage and 50 to yourself. Now, I don't love the 50 to yourself, if I'm honest with you. It's not ideal. But I do absolutely love that we've got the number here. 250 will get a Pokemon V or a basic Pokemon EX. And then if you had a choice bout, you're doing 280. That's Pokemon V-Star territory. You're literally getting a one-hit KO on Pokemon V-Stars. This is good. Like, this is legitimately good. Now, the energy, I'm going to be honest with you, the energy is a little bit of a problem. Free fighting energy, it's not ideal. It really is not ideal. It's not the end of the world, but it's certainly not ideal in any stretch of the imagination. And we've got that Gutsy Pickaxe card that can let you accelerate an energy, which is quite nice. But we don't have great energy acceleration for fighting. And remember, for a while we've been using Arceus, but Arceus specifically accelerates to Pokemon V, not to Pokemon EXs. So you've got all the usual things. Obviously, you can go Lugia or Archeops here. And the combination of those will get the energy on, but that's a really awkward way around to do it. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. And if we get some good fighting energy acceleration pretty quickly, I am going to be legitimately loving this. I think this is going to be absolutely stunning. If we don't, it's still only free energy, and there are some ways to accelerate it. It does get a bit more awkward, but if you're hitting for weakness, the first attack does a lot of damage, like weirdly lots of damage. And if you're going against Pokemon V-Star and you can get free energy on a choice bout, that is a one-hit KO on any of them. And actually, at that stage, I think we've got some good numbers. I'm giving this one 4 Wassies. And that might be overly enthusiastic because I love me some Don fan action. I don't particularly care. I'm giving it 4 Wassies. I think it's pretty good. Now, as for Iron Treads, I've been really hemming and ahhing as to which one of these I prefer, but I think now we've seen the cards, even though I'm a fighting ground guy, generally speaking, I've got to give the edge to Iron Treads, which is incidentally a ground Pokemon in the game, but they've chosen to go and make it a metal Pokemon in the TCG. But please do bear in mind, Iron Treads is steel ground. So you could get a fighting type card later on. We almost certainly will. It's just the first ones come through as steel. Good. Good. So what we've got here is 220 HP, which seems to be about standard for basic EXs as well as Pokemon V. Not as good. And we've got free energy. Choose 3 of your opponent's Pokemon. This attack does 30 damage to each of them. Okay. I don't hate it. But I am reminded that free energy is a lot. I mean, this is literally triple laser from Registeel EX. I mean, it is literally the same attack, same name, as we got on Registeel EX, except Registeel EX came out in Dragons Exalted, and I remember Dragons Exalted. I was playing a lot back then. I love this set. I know it's a decade old, and not all of you were. It's a card from a decade ago. And you would kind of hope that it would be more powerful than a card from a decade ago. But it's not. And the thing is, back when Registeel was big, pretty much all the relevant evolving Pokemon had 60 HP or less. So being able to go against an evolution deck and get 3 of their evolving Pokemon in 2 hits really put evolving decks under a lot of pressure, and this did actually see play in some decks. But nowadays, everyone's playing 70 HP basics, not always, but a lot of the time, which means that you're not 2-hit KOing them, and it's just awkward. The free energy is also super awkward, and I'm not a huge fan, and it's kind of, yeah, Like, Metal Saucer's rotating out, so we're not going to have that anymore, which is a bit of a pain. And Zacian's rotating out, so doing the whole using Zacian to get energy on itself and then your energy switch basically become energy acceleration trick, that's not going to work. And the good news is we're still going to have Bronzong that can let you move the energy, which is quite nice. The bad news is it's kind of hard to get the extra energy on the field in the first place. Yeah. Not loving the metal energy acceleration right now. I think this first attack's a bit too expensive. As for the second attack here, 160 damage and switch it to the bench. And again, I do believe it is a you have to, not you may. But it's for 4 energy. And I kind of aggressively don't like this card. And I think part of it is I love Iron Tread so much. I don't know if everyone does. I legit love this Pokemon. But 4 energy? No. Not with Metal Saucer and Zacian rotating out. And then you're only doing 160, which isn't getting basic Pokemon V. It's not getting basic Pokemon EXs. It's like 2-hit KOing most things. And you are switching to the bench. And this is really designed as a hit-and-run Pokemon. It's not supposed to be getting big KOs. It's supposed to be a hit-and-run Pokemon. Which is fine. But actually, the 4 energy's too much. It's way too much. And we still got stuff in the format like Miltank, for instance. So you deal 160 and then you run and hide behind a Miltank and hope your opponent doesn't have Gusting. But remember, Miltank blocks Pokemon V, and we're moving into a format where Pokemon EXs are a thing. So it's going to get, when you've got that weird situation where you've got, like, the format being partly EXs and partly Vs, it's so much harder to find good walls and counters and things of that nature. I'm giving this between 2 and 3 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. I might be overrating Great Tusk and underrating Iron Tread because of my love for the Pokemon. But goodness me, I don't like this card. I really don't like this card. Neither of the attacks do enough and they're both way too expensive. But I do think there's real potential with Great Tusk here. I do think that the first attack when you're hitting for weakness is great. And the second attack with a little bit of energy acceleration can run through a lot of decks. I'm a fan. Also, I didn't say it earlier, so let me make it explicit now. Great Tusk is ground fighting, so that's why it's weak to Psychic. I know ground being weak to Psychic looks weird, but this isn't a ground Pokemon, it's a ground fighting. So, yes, they're both ground, and they both can have fighting Pokemon. The reason why Great Tusk gets fighting is because it's actually a second type fighting, and you know that because of the weakness. And Iron Treads gets metal because it's his second type steel. So actually, neither of these have come through as a ground Pokemon. But do bear in mind, Great Tusk is always going to be fighting in the TCG. It's just the weakness that's going to change, whereas Iron Treads will actually change typing as we go through and get more cards. So, I might think Iron Treads is the cooler Pokemon overall, but make no mistake about it, when it comes to these 2 cards, I don't think it's even. That's what I think. I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, where you can get some bonus podcasts where I answer all of your questions. You can join a Discord and chat with us about various things, Pokemon and otherwise. And you can get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Trevs99, who's been a supporter of ours for a few months and seems to be a very lovely person. So thank you very much for all the support, and thank you for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.